Ouachita One Table. Ouachita One Table podcast is a deeper discussion of issues facing our business communities. Over this series, we'll invite community leaders in businesses, the arts, nonprofits, culture, and government as we discuss the issues that strike at the heart of the Chamber's mission for the greater good of our parish. Topics such as workforce development, education, quality of life, economic development, and more. Ouachita One Table. This podcast is a partnership project of the Monroe and West Monroe, West Ouachita Chambers of Commerce and was produced by Godly Works Productions in the Louisiana Catalyst Podcast Studios at the Benoit Community Center. Now, here are your hosts, Roy Heatherly and Christopher Kelly.
Hey everyone, I'm Chris Kelly with the West Monroe, West Ouachita Chamber, and I'm joined today with two exciting guests that are forging a new relationship and bringing good to our community. So welcome Chase and welcome Dawn.
Thank you, Chris.
Well, we're super excited. So let's start with Chase. And Chase, tell us, you represent a nonprofit. So give us a little background about your nonprofit.
All right, so Trials Global Incorporated is a nonprofit that we started with the proceeds from the book that I wrote, Trials, A Journey from Anxiety to Peace, and never really thought it would do much more beyond helping a couple of local people just passing out books. And it kind of blossomed into a nonprofit that went around the world with translations of the book in 5 different languages. And then from there realized global included Monroe, West Monroe, where we live. And so instead of reaching past our neighbors, we wanted to try and incorporate what we're doing with more local people.
So how did that evolve to this new relationship with the Children's Coalition, which makes my heart very happy, by the way?
Mine too.
Well, I don't want to take any credit at all for that because I called you as trying to network with different people in our community. And you actually brought up the Children's Coalition and said, hey, if you're going to be focusing local, this is a great organization that encompasses 17 other organizations. And my wife and I have been involved in CASA and foster care. And so we were vaguely familiar with the Children's Coalition and some of the Spanish work they do in Ouachita Union Parish. And so there was an immediate draw to that from a personal angle. But then with you and then her brother actually lives pretty close to us. So we had another personal connection there. So it's just a beautiful thing to kind of come together.
Which is a really polite way of saying you were strong-armed into a connection.
I think it was more of a meant-to-be situation.
I think so, too. So what a beautiful segue. Dawn, tell us about what you do at Children's Coalition and tell us about Children's Coalition in a whole.
I'm the Director of Development at the Children's Coalition for the last year, and it has been a wonderful first year. Jumped right in, but we are a program with 22 programs, if that makes sense. We're an organization that reaches children, families, youth, and we have 4 focus areas. We are growing and we don't want to stop growing, which is where Chase comes in to allow us to continue those programs, to not only continue, but we have a lot of parishes that we need to move into and become involved in, not just a smaller presence.
So when you say a lot of parishes, you're already involved somehow in most of Northeast Louisiana.
That is correct.
And when you talk about dealing with children and families, you talk about early childhood,
I'm
all the way up
0 to the caregivers that take care of our 0 to 18.
So even training for parents or the caregiver themselves.
Correct. And let's not forget we have a very large training program for our caregivers within our child care centers. So
that's a humbling continuum of need. From adults serving children to I'm a parent that something has gone awry and we're relearning what it is to be a parent.
In other words, first call, whatever your need, just
so
give us a call
the
and let us direct you.
That's services.
Right. Well, family services. We really have moved into
completely wrapping around what children
correct.
need in
the last few years, we've realized if we take care of the child and send them home, and we haven't taken care of their support system, we really haven't done our job.
So we say in marketing all the time, nothing sells like children or dirty puppies. Right? So you would think that it would be super easy for Children's Coalition to get a bucket of money, but the reality is, in all of those programs are grant driven for the most part, and so your directed funds, let's say, are kind of. It's kind of complicated.
It is. We have to have extra funds. I say extra funds, excuse me. We need the community
Outside of programs.
That is correct. Outside of the grants that we receive, we begin programs, and as everyone knows, over 20 years, those funds change.
Sure.
But programs don't. We can't just say, okay, we don't have the money anymore. Let's stop something so crucial, just like signs of suicide. How could we possibly stop a program that has never been more important than it is today in our society?
Sure.
Mental health is so crucial, and we're out with our youngsters talking about what they are seeing, helping their friends, seeing signs in themselves. Our director, Jane Daniels, is adamant that this program will not only continue, but we need to grow. It's vital for the health and safety of our children and their parents and families.
So at a time when our community has greater need than ever, y'all need to grow to get there.
We need funds
And
to be
most
able to
of those
continue.
funds are related
Restricted.
to program and
Yeah.
restricted.
Correct.
So then let's come back to Chase. And we had this conversation about serving our community, and your tenets are blessing, building, and believing in our own local community. But I always think that it's best to start with your own backyard too. And so let's talk about the evolution of this partnership then.
Sure. So I met a guy through a mutual friend that runs a merchant solutions company. And so
So the swipey thing that you pay with.
Yes, yes. And we have a campaign. I don't know how much we can see on the screen there, but we'll put that up. But it's called Swipe for Good. And so not only are we looking to help the Children's Coalition through just resources through the nonprofit, but as a nonprofit, nobody likes to go out with their hand out. No one loves fundraising. At least if you do, please get in contact with me.
Call us.
Yes. And so if you're all about fundraising, let
Dawn's
me know.
personal cell phone
Yes.
is
But one of the things we've been able to do to help our community as well is the company we're working with, Payrock, has agreed to match or beat whatever people are currently paying for their merchant solutions business. And so every local business that connects with us and switches to Payrock will get a discount, or at a minimum, they're going to switch without any cost to them.
So let's pause just for a second. So for the vast majority of people, they might not realize how Visa or MasterCard works. So for instance, I'm selling you a sandwich, and you come and you got your little card, because none of us have cash anymore, and you swipe. I'm paying a fee, a flat fee, to just swipe the card, and then I'm paying a percent. So if that sandwich costs $10 and you pay with an American Express, I might be losing 3.5%. 4% sometimes if it's a bad day, and 29 or 30 or 40 cents per swipe. So on that $10 sandwich, I'm out 75 cents maybe.
That would be fairly accurate
Like
statement.
that's adds up over time. And you're telling me that I can get a cheaper rate, probably,
That's right.
and I can still be dealing with Payrock is not a small little company. It's not out of your
No,
garage.
They're top 5 in the world. They're
Right.
international. They're all over the
So you
place.
still have the resources of the big guys in your backyard. I'm going to save money, and then what?
And in addition to 20% of Trials Global is going right back into our community. And so to the Children's Coalition. And so those are unrestricted funds that we're able to donate to them. And we're going to do that on a quarterly basis. And today, we're going to be able to donate $1,000 to the Children's Coalition from the last 3 months.
And we're just getting started.
And we just have 8 businesses right now that are involved. And these are just from personal contacts or other businesses.
So how cool that 8 businesses with doing basically nothing that they were going to do anyway and save money are giving back to their own community. Like this is one of those like times when it's too good to be true, but it still actually is.
You took the words right out of my mouth. But
It
that's how we
tick-
feel at the Children's
It
Coalition.
totally
is it really?
tickling me that I can do flat out nothing other than like transfer, and you're going to do that work for me. Like
that is
you're gonna train me. You're going to, and then I'm still doing good for these people that are doing 22 programs and solving this continuum of need from training all the way to early childhood development. And you got me excited.
Yes, it's a no-brainer for business. And I don't mean that in a if you don't do it, you're not smart kind of way. But for anybody who doesn't have a personal, very real connection with their current solutions provider, all it is, like you said, we'll fill out the application, we'll send it in. Some people as soon as overnight got a new equipment, didn't cost them anything, and they could start swiping. And from that, like I said, we've got 8 relationships already developed that are involved. Every month, Trials Global gets a check, and immediate 20% of that goes to the Children's Coalition.
Okay, so 20% goes to Children's Coalition. We'll talk about that more. What the other 80% do?
So right now, we're in a really good spot in that we have no administrative costs.
Okay.
And so 100% of everything that comes in right now through this Swipe for Good program is either helping people locally, or when we started Trials Global, it was more international. And I speak Spanish, so my heart is in the Spanish-speaking world. And so we've had some local Spanish stuff we've helped with, but also in South and Central America, we've done a lot of good. Even in the last month, we were able to build 3 houses, replace a big roof, provide water filters for families that have no clean water. And so we've done a lot of good humanitarian work there. But again, we want to be able to help back here as well. And so 100% of the nonprofit at present is going to help people.
You're killing my heart. So I can do good in my backyard. I can do good in an more impoverished part of the world. I don't have to pay anything. In fact, I'm probably going to save money. You're going to help me, guide me through the whole situation, and I still don't have to do anything every month.
That's right.
That's real difficult for me to not sell.
Yes.
So now let's talk about that unrestricted funds. We're about to have $1,000 donated to Children's Coalition. Let's put that into context. What does Children's Coalition do with that dollar, that $1,000?
It goes into what we've been using the term unrestricted funds. That right now is huge for us simply because over 22 programs, we're going to have programs that have a need for those unrestricted funds. And I'm going to say that again, over 20 programs that need to continue in our area and surrounding areas. We do not just serve in Ouachita Parish. We are in over 10 parishes. We are ready to expand. And in order to do so, we need the Chases of the world and the businesses that would support this to allow a consistent money to come in that we can now budget a little bit. We can say, oh my goodness, this is so exciting, because sometimes we don't know. It's hard to plan ahead with unrestricted funds.
Well,
so this consistency is huge for us.
And so you also respond to disaster needs.
We
you
do.
also respond
We do.
to, you pivot when there's a change in what's happening in our community.
I have to brag on our staff. Within 24 hours of the hurricane, we had 2 shelters set up. We had a child care situation. We were assisting parents with basic needs. So it is, it's the one call, and we were called and we answered. And I have to give kudos to our early childhood staff because they stepped up and they stepped out. And those children continued with educational, motor skills, fine motor skills, rocking a baby so a parent can go deal with their home they just lost. So the Children's Coalition is it's a larger entity that some just do not see and realize every day, but we're impacting your community more than you could possibly know morning, noon, and night. So,
and if you're blessed to never need those resources, fabulous. But you've got this safety net that's this continuum of resources.
Well, and you're looking at when you're a community-minded person and you see that child that's come in starting school ready with all those basic skills equipped because they were put into one of our early Head Start programs, that child sitting next to 3 other children, and they impact each other. We're a community. That's
Raise
how it works.
the tide of
That's
everything.
correct. That's right.
So let's say I'm not a business, Dawn. How would I get involved with the Children's Coalition? Not so subtle plug.
Well, if you're not a business, there are many ways.
All
We
right.
have 2 fundraisers as of right now.
That's
we have
right.
Dragon Boat that we just finished, and if you weren't a part of it, we encourage you next year because it was an amazing day. It's a family fun event. You can row in a boat. You can support a local school by allowing them to row in the boat. And I have to say, I think the businesses that supported our schools and allowed those to
Oh, they
had
had
as
a
much
blast.
fun
Yeah.
as the ones that rowed in that boat. But in
Yeah.
October, we have an upcoming fundraiser that we're going to partner with the Children's Museum, October 1st. So save the date. You're about to see a lot coming out about that weekend. A lot of things happening in our community that will benefit the Children's Coalition. But you can also become a member.
How do I become a member, Dawn?
You can become a member by emailing. Actually, go to childrenscoalition.org would be the easiest way. Our membership information is on the very first page that pops up, and you click on it, and it takes you right to becoming a member. There is no amount that's too small and no amount that's too large. We want you just to be included in what we're able to communicate back to. We want you to see what we're doing. So simply by becoming a member, you're going to receive our monthly newsletter, and I promise you, you will not regret that small decision.
And membership dues, that pool of money, where does that go?
The same place.
So again, you're benefiting these unrestricted funds.
Correct.
So that y'all can pivot to the need in real time.
Individual needs to individual programs
Across
to
the
individual
programs,
people.
or in a whole new well that opens up that when we have disasters.
And in the world of nonprofit, or in anybody's world, everybody knows our electricity bill went up as well. So we're just like any other business or company, or our needs change as the economy changes. So
you're pivoting too.
we're pivoting too.
Yeah.
So yes.
So if you're a business, how do I get involved with Trials and Payrock?
So anybody can reach out to me anytime. Some people,
So 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm called, I'm going to blow your phone off.
email would be better.
Just being clear.
Yes. No, they can reach out to me anytime.
Yeah.
And
So
if
what is it?
And so chase@trialsbook.com is my email. My cell phone is 501-339-3339. That's for everybody. Call or text
Especially at
anytime.
2 a.m.
2 a.m. is a great.
Yeah, that's
like
the
I
best
said,
time ever.
I've got 5 kids, so we're usually up at some point during the night.
And at 3 a.m. you can email. At 3 a.m. you can email dlandry@childrenscoalition.org.
I'm so excited about what y'all are doing together in the community. It makes my heart happy to see something innovative, something that I'm going to do anyway as a business person. You can't not accept credit cards in this day and age. In fact, I was just recently traveling this weekend, and 7 of the businesses that I went to, 7 of them were cashless. And that's just the way of the future. And when I was doing some research, when we were talking, one of the things that people are seeing more and more is you see that credit card fee on that receipt, and people are passing that to the consumer. But for big purchases, consumers are 50% less likely to make that purchase if they're stuck with it, which is ironic because it might be $50 on a big, huge purchase. But then all of a sudden that $5,000 thing becomes less interesting to them because you're passing along this fee. So influencing that rate is tremendous because it keeps it in line when the business person can continue to operate, but in a more predictable fee.
That's right. And one of the main things for people that swap over is we want to help local business make a smart business decision.
Sure.
This is not just give us money or switch your business so we benefit the Children's Coalition. They're certainly
Which would be a good enough reason on its own.
Right,
Thanks,
100%.
But then,
But we want to help our local businesses make better business decisions.
Sure.
And this is just one facet that we can use to do that.
so building better in our own community, in our backyard, building better internationally, and helping serve a mission of a nonprofit that 100% of the proceeds are going to further those causes. There's not an administrative fee. Lowering my rate, potentially the percentage rate. Lowering maybe or eliminating monthly fees, as we've talked about. And then I've got a guy in my backyard in Ouachita Parish representing this huge 5th largest credit card processor in the world that I can call when I have a problem. That's real hard not to sell. And then I know that I'm benefiting the Children's Coalition as my business,
Well,
and maybe I'm
Let's
now
not
joining
forget
as a
the
member.
consumer. So when you're everyone hates this fee. Let's face it, it's not a
Everyone hates this fee.
Everyone hates the fee. The business hates the fee. The it's just not something that you're like, I'm getting hit again with just more
Right.
fees, or in today's world. So as a
Transactional
as
fatigue.
as the consumer, I can't wait to walk in. Chase and I are working on how are we going to highlight these businesses. We're getting ready to give them an enormous amount of free publicity, and when you walk in, you're going to see, hey, I'm a community minded business. I chose this to help keep money in my area, in my community, to help my children. So I like that too. I think it's a benefit because I want to say, well, I'm actually going to go there. I really appreciate that.
So
My
shameless-
money's actually going somewhere.
That's right.
For good.
So Children's Coalition is on the web or all the social media if you want to follow them. Trials Global,
It's trialsbook.com.
trialsbook.com. And then we've already given out your phone numbers, and we'll repeat them on the screen for everybody. Thank you for what you're doing for our community. It's
Thank you.
really incredible. And by the way, you're both members of both chambers, both Monroe
We
and
are.
West Monroe, West Ouachita chambers. So that makes me excited too.
Yes.
But thank you for what you're doing. If you want more information, we'll post it online. This has been Ouachita One Table. I'm Chris Kelly, joined with my friends Chase and Dawn.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much for having us.
You've been listening to Ouachita One Table with Christopher Kelly and Roy Heatherly. This podcast is a partnership project of the Monroe and West Monroe, West Ouachita Chambers of Commerce and was produced by Godly Works Production in the Louisiana Catalyst Podcast Studios at the Benoit Community Center.